My name is Shane and I'm the founder of MyGrow. In this video we're going to look at charting all of the grow lights that we've tested here at MyGrow over the last number of years and showing them in comparison to each other, so starting at the worst and all the way up to the best. The measure we're using to compare the lights is ppfd per watt. That is the amount of power light that comes from the grow light system and reaches the target grow area, divided by the amount of power that the unit consumes. So it's a unit that we can compare, or a measure that we can compare lots of different sizes and types of grow lights in a comparable way, a little bit like you might measure miles per gallon or kilometers per litre with cars. Cars are different sizes, you can still compare them for efficiency. And this is what we're going to show you here, is the relative efficiency of different grow light systems. Not looking at spectrum today, not looking at price, you can go and have a look at that yourself. Just looking at the efficiency of the grow light systems and comparing one to the other. We've spared no expense today. We've got our high-tech grow light top charts efficiency board. And we've got a range of grow lights here, just some examples here we're going to run through as we're going through the list. And I'll show you some of the good points and bad points of the different light systems that we go along. So let's start at the start. First one we're starting off with CFLs. Now CFLs are personally my least favorite light. I really dislike them. They're very low efficiency for a start, as you'll see, but also these guys in particular, they were designed to replace old HID bulbs and to go in and around fixture. But as you can see, if you look in here, most of the light shines back in on itself, so it doesn't go anywhere. And you have to use these with a reflector as well. They're heavy and bulky. They break quite easily. Half of this one has gone already. I only used it a few times. Anyway, not very good. That light, it's Electrox 250 watt CFL, it certainly pulls less than 250 watts. But that light only gives 0.6 ppfd per watt, which is very, very poor. That goes right down there. Next fixture we have a T5 fixture, so it's fluorescence again, just straight fluorescent tubes. These are 2 foot 60 centimeter long tubes, 4 of them in here. And this guy is pretty much like a commercial fitting that you'd see in an office, in a ceiling, suspended down. These are slightly better because they're not reflecting back onto themselves. They've got a high quality reflector in there behind each tube, and that's reflecting the light down. So these guys are still poor, but better than the CFLs, which are just total rubbish. So this T5, it's a proper grow light fitting now by Envirogrow, or called Envirogrow by Lumi, but it is still not very good for efficiency. So the Lumi T5 is 0.74. and that's kind of the best quality fitting I've seen around, so I don't think you're going to get much better than that out of a fluorescent fitting. So really they've just been superseded by a long way, and you just should not be thinking about them for any grow light solution because of their poor efficiency. Spectrum isn't much better, and lifespan and all that kind of thing is pretty poor too. Next one along, we're going to look at some pretty low efficiency LEDs. So we have tested the Lush Dominator 2X. It is the lowest rated light we've tested bar CFLs, so don't buy them. Next one, a well used and very common grow light. It's the metal halide. This is a 600 watt version, digital ballast, medium sized reflector, reflective walls, all that kind of stuff. And metal halide, you get 0.93. You get lots of blue in the spectrum, which is why people like it. Good for vegetative growth, but low efficiency and also low lifespan. So goes down there. What have we got next? Oh, very, very popular light next. And just tipping off the bottom of our tested lights. Hyperspectra V300. Again, we tested it in with reflective walls and all that kind of stuff, and 0.98. So we got a video on that. This best small grow light video covers that one. Next one we've got is the base level Mars. It's the Mars 300, not the reflector or the cob type, just the basic Mars 300 and 1.02. Again, that's in the small grow light video. Next one there, then we have first HID light. So you've had LEDs before you've had HID lights. LEDs supposedly are supposed to replace them. So the smaller HPS are lower efficiency. So you're going to see this, the 150 watt with a small reflector, reflective walls, all that stuff, digital ballast, 1.1. So better than quite a few LED lights. Next one, oh yeah, a very popular brand, and of the sort of big popular brands, you know, they're expected to be high efficiency. I think this is probably the most outstanding bad case. So the flagship kind K5 XL 750, 1.17, less than a basic HPS setup, so pretty poor. Grow Mouse as well, just did a little video on those, just showing you the insides and the component quality and all that stuff, so well worth checking out if you're thinking of them. Here we have the benchmark standard, I think. So this is high pressure sodium, 600 watt digital ballast, medium sized adjust-a-wing in a 4x4, reflective walls, 1.2. So 1.2 really is the benchmark for grow light tech. If your system isn't beating this, you definitely shouldn't be buying it, because this is good value for money. It's very mature technology, so lots of people using them. You can get them very cheap and reliable. So you know, anything below this marker, particularly LEDs, why would you buy it? Why would you buy it? Okay, so I think some surprises here as well. So we've got the last model Spectrum King that I tested, Spectrum King 400 Plus. Actually not sure if they've replaced this yet, but this is certainly current earlier this year. And the Spectrum King 400 Plus 1.21. Again, 4x4, reflective walls, all that stuff. So we have a full video on that one if you want to see a bit more detail. But basically as efficient as the HPS it's supposed to be replacing. Next one was a bit of a disappointment because we tested their flagship or their most efficient model first, the Optic 1, and then we tested the Optic 2, and it's not great, to be honest. It's 1.23. So again, it's down in sort of why would you bother territory. Beating it is the little IKEA grow light, which I'm very fond of. It's only 17 watts, it's quite expensive, but as a cute little seedling light, and one that you could get away with using in your home, out on the you know, on the counter or whatever, because it's quite pretty. Nice result, 1.25. Next, one of my favorites. If anybody asks me, I want a starter light, I want a cheap grow light, and don't want to spend too much money up front, I always recommend these. So this is a ceramic metal halide CMH or light emitting ceramic. Basically it's a variant of a metal halide bulb, operates at higher pressure and gives you a far better spectrum. You can get it at different colour temperatures, so you can get it cool or warm. I would recommend, the 3500K or 4000K CMH. This is with digital ballast and medium-sized adjust-a-wing reflector. You get a 1.29. In terms of bang for buck, this is very, very good, and I would highly recommend this if you're looking for just raw power. You're not too concerned about electricity and long life bulbs too. So yeah, an excellent choice. And as you can see, wipes the floor with a lot of LED options, which are supposed to be replacing it. Next one, some people thought we were doing them down when we reviewed their light recently. Sorry if you thought that way, I didn't think it at all. I think they're a nicely built little unit. This is the Mars, same sort of drivers and LEDs, but they use little reflector panels to get to focus the light down onto the grow area. It works well. You get a 1.3 with the Mars Reflector 48. Again, if you want a real cheap starter, that is what I would recommend as one to go for. I might have been recommending their Cobb light, but they wouldn't send me one. I have nothing against Mars, I have nothing against any other grow light company except if they lie. So Mars, they post their power maps, they're not very good, but at least they post something. Now we've got getting to the peak of the high pressure sodium, or HID. So this is a HPS 600 watt, same bulb, same reflector, so it's a Sunmaster bulb, digital ballast Lumitec, so high quality equipment, but with the large reflector. So using a Dominator triple XL by Sun Systems or something like that. It's the large reflector where the bulb is right up into the reflector. It's got to be sort of 3 foot wide by 3 foot deep in order to be effective. But you'll squeeze a little bit more efficiency out there, so 1.3 by spending maybe an extra $100, €100 on your reflector. So a good option. You can get from the 1.2 up to 1.3, which is an extra 7%. Next, small little light, Spectrum King Mother's Little Helper 100 watt. Again, I think they've upgraded these since to 140, but not too bad. 1.34 ppfd per watt, so not bad. Another one of my personal favorites. I just think they're beautifully made and they give a great light spread. And they are the peak, really, or we're approaching the peak, I should say, of the HID technology in terms of efficiency. So it's a Gavita 1000 watt double-ended 400 volt Pro Plus or something it's called. So it's the best of the best from the Gavita range. And the only downside is to it, it's got a narrow lens and projects the light down narrowly, and that means you got to raise it quite high. So it's got to be about 60 or 70 centimeters over the grow area, which is relatively high compared to some other reflectors. But you get a really, really even spread of light, and you get good efficiency, 1.39. So they're expensive, but you'll get your payback, and it's obvious why commercial growers are still using those. So there's a few surprises here. So in terms of LEDs then, the Blurple ones, we're getting to the higher end now. There's a few of them bunched here. One that is available here in Europe anyway, and certainly in some of the local grow shops here in Ireland, is the G-Tools G-LEDs. Various different model sizes available. This was the 280. They're all going to perform the same relative efficiency. 1.5 ppfd per watt. So not bad. What have we got next? Ah yes, another Blurple light, but a relatively high quality one, so couldn't fit it all on there, but it's the California Lightworks Solar System 550. And you know, they're modular, they go up in size, the efficiency is likely to be very much the same. This was 1.5 ppfd per watt as well. We've got a Budmaster 2 GOD6, so this is their high range Blurple light. Again, it's 1.5, around 1.5, it's 1.52. So you can see up here that we have a gathering there of a few Blurple lights. They're the last ones, SMD, the panel type, they are the peak. So they're just a touch over HPS or HID. Certainly wouldn't be, they wouldn't be replacing significantly less in wattage in terms of HID. It would be more or less the same, just a little bit better. So next we've got a few lights, we're starting to go up into the higher end lights. So we've got a Nextlight Mega here. We haven't released a video on this one, but these also are published by Monster Gardens as well, publish their PPFD charts and show you the results for them. So they're a 1.6. They are a white panel light. Then we get into some sort of higher end European models. The Magnus Ore 350, we tested this, we got a video on it. It's sort of an odd combination of Blurple cobs, so blue and red cobs, in a box which is fan cooled, and they come in sort of relatively large modules with wide lenses. So it's a light I don't understand, but anyway, here they are. So Magnus Ore 350, medium size model, 1.74. We're starting to reach where it's justifying replacing HPS now. Next one, very nice little light, again a European one, Sunlight S4W. We did a 4x4 tent with 3 of these in them. They're 140 watts each, if I remember. And because they're bars, if you hang them across the row here, you get a very even spread, so they're nice. 1.81 is the ppfd per watt. I must say that this is significantly lower than what they publish as their ppf, which is the output from the light. Somebody else can explain the difference, but that's what I tested. So 1.81. You can watch the full video on that on our channel. Okay, we're getting into drum roll territory now, so we've only a few to go. Next one is again a personal favourite of mine. I just think they're offering great value for money. Really, for is what I'd say mostly about them, and being innovative and just looking at things a bit differently. So we have the fella here. It's the Quantum board. So lots of single mounted devices straight onto a board, being run at relatively low wattage, so there's no need for heat sinking on the back. Very nice for a little small micro grow or small veg tent. And you get your Meanwell driver with a little connector on it, so pretty basic, but it does what it's supposed to do. The LEDs are not protected, so you know they can get dirty and gunged up and stuff like that, but you know, it's a great little system, and they perform very well. So we did those in a 2x2. We put the QB120 into a 2x2 tent with reflective walls, hung it at optimum height, and it's the 4K version, and we got a 1.92 efficiency, so really good. Next after that we have ourselves, we have Micro. So You know, it doesn't matter which model I pick, the 100 or the 400 or the 600 or the 200, they're all the same, they're lensed. So they're designed to get the light straight down on without using reflective walls. You get a little bump from using reflective walls, so they are tested with reflective walls for fair comparison. And all of our systems are 2, so simple number. You get a 107 watt micro, you get by 2, you get by 215 ppfd, so easy to figure out. There we are. Anybody who watches our videos will not be surprised by the next one, because we tested it here a while ago and knocked out the micro. So this is the other Optic. This is their small variant, the Optic One. This is a 56 watt light, I think, and 54 watt, and glass lens, passive heatsink, Meanwell driver mounted on the back. Again, very simple, very straightforward. This comes out at a 2.04, so just a touch over 2, and tops the micro system. I will say that we haven't tested the XL yet, but in any of the lights we have tested, I've looked at the PPFD maps that Optic produce on their website, and we've been very, very close to them in our tests compared to their results. So if you want to work it out, what the XL produces or any of the other lights, just look at their PPFD maps, because they publish everything, which is brilliant. Hats off. I have again a lot of time, because they're open and transparent, and you know, the build quality is good, and they sell what they say they sell, so you can't ask for more than that, really. So big drum roll for the top one. It's one, unfortunately, I tested and I got to use, but I didn't get to video. So I don't have a separate video on this, although I'm going to arrange that pretty soon. And I've just smudged the name a bit, so just 1 second. Don't want to make them look bad. I have a lot of time for this company. I've been following them. I think they make incredible products. I have to say, the build quality on this unit is fantastic. I didn't know what it would be like until I had it in my hands, and it has a really nice look and feel to it. They've got heritage. If an LED company can have heritage, but they're around as long as anybody else has been. And yeah, the spread of their light is absolutely outstanding, and their efficiency is top. It's the best efficiency I've tested in terms of ppfd per watt. So it's the Fluence Spider X. Lots of people have asked me to test it, so I got a hold of one and tested it. Just unfortunately, the person who had it wouldn't let me film it, so I couldn't film it to show you the ins and outs of the unit, but the result is absolutely outstanding. So Fluence is right up the top, and yeah, well deserved of where they are. From our own perspective, what I would suggest to you is, when you're looking at your light system, you know, what we've done instead of Spider is to make it modular. So smaller units make up the bigger units, which mean you can add on and break away, and be flexible in terms of the sizes of tent sizes you're using. So it's a 4x2 or a 6x2 or whatever, you can accommodate those sizings. Whether the Spider X model is restricted, it's quite rigid. It's really 4x4, and that's pretty much it. So we hope that we offer a bit more flexibility. And then when it comes to price, if you look at the three lights there at the top, the Fluence, the Optic, the Micro, we would be best value for money in terms of ppfd per euro or per dollar compared to the others. So we hope we are able to give you a conundrum if you're looking for high efficiency lights, that there's lots of good options out there, and we hope we're sticking our head out to appeal to you as best as we can. So, hope you enjoyed. I know there's going to be lots of comments and questions, so I look forward to them. Please, anything you have, please let us know. I'm going to put as much information into the description below as possible, and there'll be a blog going out with the video which will have all this stuff written down so you can pore over it, and I'm going to try and put spectrum information and all that other stuff, test conditions and everything else in there for each of the lights tested, and you can peruse and have a look if you're thinking of buying any of these lights. Last thing I would say is, you know, the whole reason that I'm building LEDs and that is to be more efficient than the previous generation of equipment, i.e. HID and stuff. So I would suggest to you, looking at that list, that if you can get HPS or CMH around 1.3 ppfd per watt, not at huge expense, that there is no point in getting anything else underneath here. That it's time to move on really from, you know, this stuff, and they just shouldn't be selling anymore. People shouldn't be buying them, and you know, it's low efficiency stuff. It's not helping the environment. It's not helping anything. So yeah, hopefully if this video does anything, it gives you a steer away from the bottom there and takes some of these crappy lights off the market, and you know, does a small amount to help preserve the planet. And also hopefully you will have seen some lights that you are interested in but you weren't quite sure, and now that you have a bit more information on the efficiency of these lighting systems, that you can make a value judgment, look at how much they cost versus how much they give out, and be able to compare one against the other, which is the point of this. So hope you enjoyed. As I said, looking forward to the comments, so take care. Cheers.